Hey everyone, welcome to the Wheels to Walking podcast, the podcast with a guy in a wheelchair and a guy not in a wheelchair.
What up? I'm the guy not in a wheelchair.
I love this intro because it's so simple.
It's very simple.
And if you want to learn more, you can go back in time to the beginning.
You can research and find us on places. But
Find us on places. Yo, dude, I get so bothered when people do zero research and then like message me in my DMs or email me about something that I'm like, literally type it into YouTube. Like if you type into like, it's like, hey man, I got a quick question for you. I'm thinking about getting a new wheelchair and I was just curious, like what brands do you recommend and how do I get fitted for one? I'm like, type in wheelchair fitting.
It's like I did all of this effort for you.
Like take 13 seconds.
Yeah.
Not even 13 seconds, 3 seconds to just fucking do some research, man.
Yeah, I remember when I would always complain about like my mom's friends and stuff. They'd be like, oh, I've been trying to listen to Andrew's podcast, but I can't find it. And I'm like, oh, you know how I know you didn't do anything? Because you didn't Google my name. Google my fucking name. Like literally, it's like the least amount of effort. Like people just are lazy, man. Like they either think it doesn't exist. Like they either, you know, that guy in particular, whatever, not to harp on him, but you know, even if it's an imaginary person, like maybe he just is like, oh, I'll just go straight to the source instead of like trying to figure it out on my own or whatever. Reasons. But it's just annoying.
One, they don't do any research. Two, they don't think it exists. Or three, they're just looking for an excuse to try to talk to me.
That too. That's probably a thing too.
Yeah, that would be kind of like me wearing a watch, running up to you real quick and be like, yo, quick question. I know you're busy. I know you're doing stuff, but I need to know the time. Can you tell me the time? And you're like, I don't have a phone or a watch with me. It's like, okay, well then go try to find the time for me. Go find the time. It's like, exactly. Sir, you're wearing a watch. I don't know how to read this thing.
Can you tell me? I need someone to vocally tell me in my ear, I'm blind, I can't see the watch, I just wear it for fun.
Yeah, it's just a decorative piece. I've seen people do that, wear watches with it, like the time wrong on it, or not even working.
Yeah, I've been guilty of that before. I wear this watch a lot, but actually it was wrong this morning, I noticed. And like when it's like daylight savings time, I'm like, whatever. Most of the time I'm not paying attention to the hour anyways, I'm kind of paying attention to the minute hand. Mm-hmm. As long as the minute hand's good, I'm
just look at my phone. My phone's my thing.
Yeah.
That's my ish. Dude, I've been like sad boy. I've been a real sad boy, and I don't like it. Like, so sad boy reason number one is that I'm still having to pretty much just like lay around and heal for the most part. Like my body is still just like, my leg is still in pain. I'm still real swollen and
can't walk.
Yeah, can't walk at all. Which, well, I mean, I can with like 2 crutches, and I can basically just like hop and limp. And
I haven't seen your new crutches yet.
It suck. They're sick, dude. Shout out to freaking Hannah Gavios for hitting up the people at Walk Easy for sending me a pair of crutches. These crutches are much nicer than the ones I had before, and I'm really excited because PT starts Monday.
Oh, really? Did you find a place nearby?
Yeah, there's one that's near the Publix in like Dunwoody Photo and like.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Not too far away.
Yeah. Oh, I might have just leaked the location
of our Publix.
Yeah.
That we go to all the time, both of us. We always go to Publix.
That's the Publix that we exclusively go to. Is that one. That's the one we go to.
No, but that's good.
Yeah.
Have you driven? Well, I know you've driven a little bit, but like, have you figured out how to get your chair in the car and all that?
Yeah, I can, but the problem is that sucks the most is this wrist is way more jacked up than I thought it was.
Really?
Like, I can't lift my chair in and out normally. Like, I have to, like, you'll see how I do it later.
Well, your other wrist is fucked up too, right?
Well, this wrist is
mainly
jacked.
due to the elbow.
Yeah, the elbow, and then this wrist also has a pin in it. One of the scaphoid bones broke, and they had to put a pin in it. And my original injury, and then this one, like, there's like this bump. I don't know. Camera is not gonna be able to see it, but you can be able to see it. Like, that's not supposed to be there.
Oh,
like,
weird.
This like there's supposed to be a bump here and a bump here, but not one here.
There's like a big fat swollen lump.
Yeah, and it's hard. It's a bone. Like, it's a bone that's in a place where it's not supposed to be. So,
do you think that you should have had surgery on it? Maybe.
I don't know. Maybe it's dislocated. Maybe I need to have a surgery done to it. Maybe it's just like when the swelling goes down, it'll heal. I don't know, but like this wrist is becoming a major problem.
That sucks.
Which is annoying. I knew there would be other things. Like, I remember even calling that in the beginning. I'm like, I got hit by a car. There's no way it's just my leg that is the problem, because if it's just the leg, then the problem, then like it would be only the leg that got hit, and like my whole body got hit, you know, and like my ribs and my chest are fine and my shoulder's okay, but this wrist is causing me problems. Like, I can't even hold like my Brita pitcher Like,
Really?
Like, dude, it hurts. And you know, like another shitty factor is like I'm finally off the opiates, which is a good thing. Like, that's a great accomplishment. I took my last dose like Monday afternoon, and then all day Tuesday I woke up and I was like, dude, I'm hot and I'm like achy and I feel like I got the flu and I'm just like so depressed. I'm like, what the hell is wrong with me today? Like, what is going on? And I'm like, oh no, it's the start of the withdrawals. Like, can't wait. And obviously this is not the same kind of withdrawals that like a heroin addict would feel, or someone who's been on opiates for years and years and years. I was on them for a month and I wasn't abusing them, but even still, like, I feel like the soul is being sucked out of my body.
How much were you on before the withdrawals? Like 5 milligrams a day, 10 milligrams a day?
I mean, I was on just the...
And it was Roxy's, not...
No,
not
dude, I was just on the...
Tramadol?
Tramadol, yeah.
Oh, wow. So you weaned yourself successfully off opiates completely, and then it was, like, done with the Tramadol.
Well, Tramadol is an opiate. It's just a little...
okay.
It's just a little baby, like, bitch-ass opiate. It's, like, not anything that's, like... It's like for pain levels between 1 and 3. Like, it doesn't really... It does, but it also doesn't. Like, it's, like... It's for transitions basically, or like minor pain or whatever. But so that was the last one I took, and so
most people would probably be on them longer than you, right? I mean, you're trying to get off them as soon as possible because you've had a history with opiate addiction, right? Like, most people would probably be on them for like 4 or 5 months.
I don't know. It just depends. Like, I'll have to see how much the pain gets in the way of my physical therapy.
Yeah.
If it starts causing problems in physical therapy, then I might have to go back to the doctor and be like, hey, I'm gonna need some just for when I go to physical therapy.
Yeah.
But we'll see when that happens. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm just like, my range of motion is extremely limited right now, and I just really hope I can get that range back, because if I can't, then I won't be able to walk. Which is another reason that I'm kind of like. Just like not in the best place. I'm like, damn, I spent like all this time and energy and effort for all these years to like be able to get to walk again, and then like now I'm not able to right now. So I kind of have to like work on accepting that, but I'm not gonna do that yet until I know for sure. And then I also have to think about like how much energy and effort I'm gonna put into actually trying to walk again, because that's a whole nother investment too. You know, is it worth it? Like, I don't know. That's a whole bunch of stuff I gotta think about, but.
I think it's worth it for the sake of like your independence in certain situations. Like, you know, it's kind of like in that one video we talked about how like walking is like a character, like a superpower almost. Like, you don't walk all the time, but you can like whip it out when you need to. Like, there's just a lot of circumstances where walking is more convenient.
Absolutely.
And if you can do it for even just a short distance, like, you know, just to go up a small flight of stairs, or like, you know, just to load your chair into the back of your car rather than having to break it down every time, stuff like that.
I agree. Yeah, walking and standing is definitely something that adds a lot of value, but I also understand that there's people out there that don't walk and stand at all, and they've got just a fine quality of life as well.
Yeah, of course. We know a lot of people like that.
A lot of people. So I think about that. But yeah, the withdrawals are shitty. I feel like I have the flu. Like, I know I'm like in good spirits right now, just that's because I'm around people, and you know, but like I'm overheating at night. I'm not sleeping well. You know, like, I'm in a lot of pain, more than just like regularly. Like, my abdomen hurts, like my like bones hurt like everywhere, you know. It's just crap, man. Like, I sent you guys that little like
I was
like this is what I'm kind of going through. I mean, granted, I didn't deal with all those symptoms, but like, let me just read you a few of them. But it's shitty, dude. Like, going through these withdrawals, and it was funny because like, you know, it was like a WebMD post, and they're like, usually self-diagnosable. I'm like, oh, no way, really? Let's see here. It's like, symptoms of opioid withdrawal usually include anxiety, nausea, vomiting, and abdominal pain. And it's like pain areas in the muscles, gastrointestinal, diarrhea, vomiting or nausea, whole body, restlessness or sweating, mood, general discontent or anxiety. So that is an explanation of why I am very sad. Eyes, dilated pupils, or watery eyes. And that was something that even Jalila noticed yesterday. She's like, oh, your eyes are so dilated. I'm like, yep. I'm like going through it right now. And then also like fast heart rate, excessive yawning, goosebumps, insomnia, tremors. And I'm sitting there like, yep, that's me. That's me right now.
So since you've gotten through say addiction before, what's a good practice you go through to get over the opioids?
Like to get off of them
Yeah.
currently?
Well, in my addiction, I regularly went through withdrawals because there was many times where I didn't have access to my pills, and I knew that I had to wait like a week or two before I could go to the doctor or before I could go to the pharmacy to get them filled. And during those times, I remember I would just like do anything to make myself pass out. Like I'd take sleep pills or Benadryl or like smoke a bunch of weed. Like those are terrible ideas, and I don't recommend that. And then for this example is knowing that it'll eventually be over soon. That I'm not going to suffer for a long time. And again, this is not my first surgery that I've had where I've had to take opiates and then wean myself off them. But what I like to do is just make sure I also have a lot of Advil and Tylenol in my system. I make sure I eat still, because if I stop eating, then that'll screw everything up. If I start having diarrhea problems or something, I'll take like Imodium. But a lot of people, it's interesting. So like addiction usually starts for like a fun reason. Like it's like for partying, right? Like a lot of people are like, dude, I can't wait to fucking, get some drugs and get high, and this is going to be sick, and like, let's party, and like, let's hang out with people. It's, we like live to use. It's like, yeah, like let's get high, And then there's a point that it switches to where like we have to use to live. And what that means is like we have to stay, and it's not even like we get high anymore. We just have to stay with these drugs in our system so that we avoid these awful withdrawal withdrawal symptoms. Yeah, thank you. Because withdrawal symptoms can be extremely debilitating to the point where like you just can't function. So like there's a lot of like functioning heroin addicts out there that, there's a lot of functioning cokeheads out there and meth heads out there because they just use it because it doesn't really get them high anymore. But what happens is a lot of people, when they, still want to, quote, party or whatever, they'll drink on top of it, or they'll, mix them, they'll blend them together like a speedball. Like they'll put like coke and heroin together and, shoot that up so they get like a crazy high or whatever. But, I think I currently am not in the use to live or live to use. Like my current issue is just simply due to like a broken bone. So the second that pain is taken care of, I don't need to be on it anymore. So it's not difficult now relative to how it has been difficult. But this time for me, I just make sure I, eat and try to socialize and, make sure I drink a lot of fluids and, take Advil and Tylenol and keep it in my system. And, I even found myself like watching some of my old videos because I knew like some of my own wisdom was like going to be important in this.
Yeah.
So I watched like the Carlos video and like the Matt Lyon video, and there's a couple of lines in there where I'm like, God damn it, he's right. And it's me.
Yeah, literally.
You've even pulled those lines on me before. We're like, Richard, you're never going to feel like doing it. You just got to do it. And then you'll feel better. And I'm like, shut up, Andrew.
You can't act your way into your feelings. You gotta feel your way, or whatever you say.
Yeah, you can't feel your way in your actions. You have to act your way in your feelings. Yeah. But yeah, that's currently what I'm going through. I am very miserable, but I'm also like managing just fine. And like I'm still doing the podcast. Obviously, I'm still gonna be able to do the rest of the day. And we got some other exciting stuff we'll talk about later. But it's one of these things I'm like, yeah. So.
Also, I wanted to say, we've been kind of taking a little bit of a break from videos, but not really. Like we put out the video last week, which was pretty awesome.
Yeah, it was a cool video. It was
the 10-year anniversary of your accident video,
and that one got a great response. Where it got the coolest response was on TikTok.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I put that trailer on TikTok, and the only reason I knew it did good on TikTok is because people started commenting TikTok on my main video.
Oh, really? I literally didn't even like look at TikTok or anything. That's funny.
You have DMs from me on your TikTok that have been sitting there forever.
I've looked through some of them, some of the messages recently.
Okay.
But I went on TikTok like a couple weeks ago, and there was like 14 TikToks from you.
Did you like the David Dobrik Jason one?
Yeah, that was funny.
With Big Nick too.
Yeah. The impressions.
Yeah.
But you said you started getting a bunch of traffic from TikTok to YouTube.
Yeah, I think TikTok
That's
got
cool.
like 256,000 views.
Wow, that's
and
solid.
like 300 or 400 comments, which I thought was
300 or 400 comments
Yeah.
on TikTok?
I might be wrong. I have to look again.
I was gonna say,
but I'm pretty
goddamn.
but I'm pretty sure it was a lot of comments. It was
I
like,
want to look at the numbers.
yeah, look at it.
That's cool.
Just
though.
know that automatically turns the
Yeah,
volume up.
I've got
Yeah.
my media volume turned all the way down.
Yeah, but it was a great response, man. A lot of people were, excited for what's to come. They're totally understanding that we're, taking
Yeah,
a break.
364 comments. Goddamn,
Yeah,
that's solid.
totally excited that we're taking a break, or totally, fine that we're taking a break. Excited to see what comes, next, and
Someone commented, "That's the day Baby by Justin Bieber was released."
And someone else was also like, yo, okay, here's the TikTok thing. I want to say at least 20 people were like, that's my birthday. And I'm like, you're 10 years old. Like,
Literally.
And then there's other people that are like, that's the day Justin Bieber's song came out. And someone was like, that was the day Triple X died. And then someone was like, no, you idiot, he died in June. My favorite comment was from someone who, this is just TikTok. TikTok is full of 10-year-olds. Someone literally goes, maybe it's because you are racist and MLK is punishing you for being a racist.
The ghost of MLK is punishing you. That's funny as hell.
I thought it was the funniest thing ever. And then
That's funny as shit.
And I'm like, oh man, dude. Only a 10-year-old would think that. Maybe it is because you are racist.
Maybe, just maybe, it is because you are racist towards the black people and MLK is punishing you.
Yeah, I thought that was funny.
That's so funny.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, but the video did really well. I was it was kind of a doozy of a video to make, and I had to crank it out like pretty quickly. Like we shot it on Wednesday or Thursday. I think we shot it on Wednesday. Then we recorded the podcast on Thursday.
Yeah.
And then
You had your haircut in your gym and all that stuff.
on Thursday, yeah. And then basically like all day Friday, I literally didn't leave my house. I barely left my room on Friday. I like basically Thursday night, I stayed up like pretty late doing it. Then Friday, I think I left my room like 3 times.
Dope.
To make food and like literally just to make food, and like, yeah, that was pretty much it. And then I literally
You
stayed
dropped
up.
a sick ass music video though.
What? Oh yeah, we did drop a sick ass music video. Yeah, that was on Friday. Yeah, because AJ was editing clips
For those of you guys not in the podcast group, go check this out, please.
on the Facebook podcast group. So do you know how that happened? I don't think we told you.
No.
So AJ was pressing on Spotify. There was like, so now on the audio format, there are keyframes, not keyframes. What am I looking for? Timestamps, where you can click the exact time and we'll say like, here's where we start talking about this, and you can click the time and it'll skip to that time. And on Spotify, when you clicked it, it would go to that part where I was like, dude, the scientist, dude. And we just kept clicking it over and over to
was so
get it to
funny.
that part. We're like,
We
dude.
started like clapping our hands.
Yeah, and I was like, bro, what if we like
a
made that
beat.
like a rap song? It was like,
We found a beat online, and we found out like we had like a BPM like
Should I play
calculator.
it?
It was like we would like click it to the beat of like what we would think would be one, and then we typed it on YouTube and we found a beat, and then we like synced it together, and then it synced so well we just started like cracking up laughing. It was just like,
should I
so
play
funny.
it on my phone right
Yeah,
now?
just play it.
Yeah.
Play it for them, so they
Yeah,
can
here, let
they
me-
can hear the glory. But also go on the Facebook group and leave us comments
Here,
on the video.
I'll just, I'm not on the Bluetooth or anything. I'll just play it over the speaker here.
Yeah.
That's another conspiracy, bro. Fucking the government, dude. Oh, fucking the government, dude. Oh, fucking the government, dude. Oh, fucking the government, dude. It's trying to fucking force you to think the way they want you to think, bro. And you gotta think outside the box. Don't fucking take vaccines. Don't go to college, bro.
Don't take
vaccines and don't go to college,
bro.
That was really funny.
My favorite was the comment that we received. Can we read this comment out loud, please?
On YouTube or where?
The one that we received on YouTube on the community page. I screenshotted it and sent it to you.
Oh, yeah, that was hilarious.
Okay,
So Richard posted on the community tab about the podcast.
Community tab of the Wheels to Walking
and this guy basically he said,
This is
so the title of the podcast is "Don't Vaccinate Your Kids, Just Use Healing Crystals." That was the episode. That was the last episode. And this guy goes, "Yes, fuck all the other kids who are potentially going to be affected by the potential outbreak of this disease that could be spread. I'm not watching this video because it's either clickbait or nonsense. Go test that theory on your baby."
It's like, bro, the whole time we're talking in this podcast, it's the opposite of what this thumbnail is.
The thumbnail is so obviously like making fun of it.
It's a troll, dude. Like, I'm like holding on to like a salt rock lamp and there's like essential oils and like...
Yeah, it was just ridiculous that guy like legitimately thought that it was funny. Or like he thought it was like real.
Oh, I do have a question for you though. And this might be calling you out.
What?
Your mom left a comment on...
She did.
I want to know how real that is.
So because
this is some tea we're spilling right here.
This is some real fucking tea. And when she posted that, I died laughing. Okay, so here, let me find it real fast. It's in the Wheels to Walking podcast Facebook group.
So if you guys remember, we were basically just talking mad shit on people that don't vaccinate their kids.
Yes.
And, like healing crystals and just like so much stuff.
And someone in the group, Carlin, Hollis, whatever. I'm not going to say your last name in case you want to be private, but
yeah.
In the group you posted. She's from the Netherlands, and she posted this tweet in Dutch that was about this all-natural lifestyle brand. And basically they put out a tweet that asked for women to sign up for a giveaway. And it said, looking for 100 pregnant women that chose not to vaccinate, choose not to vaccinate like Rosita did, and let your own immune system protect your baby by eating healthy. Do this and you'll receive a food processor with the value of 399 euros. This way you'll give your baby the best start possible. So basically they were looking for 100 pregnant women to choose to not vaccinate to enter in this contest for like a juicing machine or some shit.
I'm face palming so hard.
Yeah. So anyways, in the comments we were all joking and I'm like, oh, blah, 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 blah. And oh, how could you enter the contest if you didn't vaccinate your child? And I'm like, wow, that's next level stupid. How could you prove your kid was not vaccinated? And my mom,
his mom, comments
on this post and goes, Andrew, there is something I've been meaning to tell you. ... Along with homeschooling and circumcision, Dad and I decided that we would not have you vaccinated.
You're a part of the problem, bro. You're a part of the problem.
And I posted this GIF of SpongeBob jumping into a hole and burying himself alive.
Well, my question is, did you verify this with her?
So I did. I got verification, and so I'll talk about my trip in just a minute, but I was on a trip with my family this past week, and one night I asked my mom, and I said, hey, Mom, so... you posted in the Facebook group that you didn't vaccinate me. What the fuck? Because also my mom is kind of kooky. Like, she did choose to homeschool us. She's all into, like, alternative methods and all this stuff. And she was like, no, of course we vaccinated you. And I'm like, okay, thank God. And she's like, I'm not going to lie. I did look into it because I had heard, some things. But, ultimately we decided that, the pros outweighed the cons. And, also, like, we couldn't ever send you to school and stuff if you weren't vaccinated. So, but then she did tell me there was people in our homeschool group that weren't vaccinated.
Yep.
She was like, do you remember the Campbells or whatever? I'm not really throwing them under the bus because that's such a common last name. But she was like, you remember the Campbells?
How about the Smiths?
They were like, all 6 of them weren't vaccinated or whatever.
Oh,
and they were like the weird family that all wore like denim skirts, like long denim skirts and shit like that. Like, it was like, oh yeah.
Never cut their hair.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. They were like all horse girls and shit.
The horse girls.
Yeah. But anyways, that was pretty funny. And
so your mom was trolling on you.
My mom was trolling me.
Because when I read that, I was like, this is the best.
Yeah. I personally just died laughing. I think I ran into AJ's room and I was like literally dying because I'm like, this is so funny because I don't know if she's trolling me.
Exactly. There's no way to know.
I didn't know because I'm like, how am I supposed to know? I don't remember getting fucking vaccinated or anything.
You sound like you have your medical records. You're like, let me go back and look. Like,
yeah. And it's not like, when you, yeah, I don't know. It was pretty funny, but my mom was like, no, we vaccinated you. So
Yeah,
that was a troll, and that was actually really funny on my mom's part.
Yeah, I know.
I think that's hilarious.
I know for sure I've been vaccinated because when I got into my first physical rehab hospital, one of the requirements to be in that hospital was to be vaccinated and have records of your vaccinations. And I didn't have records of my vaccinations, so I got vaccinations when I was like, even if I had already been vaccinated, they're like, we don't have any records, so we just got to give them to you.
Were you vaccinated? Did your mom tell you if you were or not? Do you even know?
I think I was, but I don't know if she did like all the rounds because
Yeah.
like I got really sick when I was an infant.
Oh yeah.
And like when you're sick, you can't give your kid like vaccination. So I think I might have missed like a couple of rounds or something.
Don't expect any miracles, bro.
Yeah, I know, right? But I know for sure, like I've got like the TB, you know, and like the measles, mumps, rubella, the MMR. That's the one that everyone freaks out about. It's like, don't give your kids the MMR. It's got thimerosal in it. And it's like, Jesus, punch me in the face.
Yeah. It is ridiculous. But yeah, just to clear the whole air on that, we did. I did get vaccinated.
I thought it was funny because I'm like, dude, she
pulled out the stops.
He doesn't know because it's possible that he's not vaccinated. And if he's not vaccinated, he's eating his words hard.
I just thought it was funny.
And publicly. And also I'm thinking, does that mean he's going to go get vaccinated now? Like,
I don't know.
I was so like, oh, this is going to be juicy.
Yeah, it was funny, but also it was even funnier that she pulled out the like circumcision and homeschooling card.
Yeah, she's like, along with homeschooling and circumcision, your dad and I decided to not vaccinate you.
No, because another time on Facebook, I was posting this whole thing about circumcision, and then my mom jumped into the debate. And
about
it was
like
hilarious
about genital mutilation or whatever.
Yeah, because I basically said that like, yo, it's like it's an old like practice that we shouldn't do anymore, blah blah blah. And like my mom was like, well, your dad and I thought it was the best thing for you at the time. I'm sorry if you feel that we, took something from you. And I'm like, Mom, don't just no.
You're right.
It was just the funniest thing because a bunch of my friends that are girls were like DMing me privately and we're just like, bruh, your mom is out here talking about your dick on Facebook. It was funny.
Dude, your mom's great.
Yeah, it was just funny as shit because it's just like, okay, well, we all know freaking Andrew doesn't have his foreskin, but yep. And now I'm outing myself publicly here, but I really don't care.
Congratulations. I used to have one, and then I got an incurable yeast infection, and we had to chop that thing off.
What time was that? After
After my accident, yeah. So whenever I'm doing my cathing, I had to always like wipe the head with a wipe, which is wet, and yeast thrives in a warm, moist environment, so there was no way for me to keep it dry. And like I tried like pills and like creams and like I tried for a while because I wanted to keep it. I like it. Like it was something I used to be really ashamed of as a kid. And then as I got older, I was like, oh, it just makes it feel better. Like I'm like more sensitive. So like okay.
Exactly. It retains sensitivity and there's like sensation on the inside of it and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then I had to get it snipped and I was like, oh, so sad.
But it's better for you now because you don't have to deal with the infections and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, I
because at one time I think you did tell me that you preferred having like you had like before and after. Which one would you prefer?
Oh, before, sure. Uncircumcised is so much better.
I thought you said you liked circumcised better.
No, the other way around.
Oh, okay, well then that confirms it for me then.
Confirms it for you.
No, because it was funny because it confirms it for me, meaning I think that like personally AJ's dying. It confirms it for me then, because I was really deeply wondering what you preferred. No, I'm just kidding. It confirms it for me, meaning I'm probably not gonna get my kid circumcised.
Oh, I wouldn't either, because my thing is like if they want to get it done, they can get it done. But
he needs to look like his father.
Nah, if he wants to get it done, he can get it done. That's fine. But but I think it's a matter of like pleasure and sensitivity. It's like it's like for both you and your partner, like it's a good thing to have.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, I you know what? R.I.P. to my foreskin, but you know what? The past is the past. Can't grow it back.
Yo,
there's a group of people that think you can though.
And there's like this equipment you can buy. Have you seen this?
It like stretches it back over. Oh, yeah, I'm not into it.
We are going down a very weird trail right now.
We're going down a very weird rabbit trail. Happy trail.
So how about you tell us about all the trails in Puerto Rico you got to walk on?
Oh,
Hey.
nice. That was good. Well, yeah. So this past week, the past 4 days, 5 days, 4 nights, I was in Puerto Rico, which is awesome.
Watch me mess up a really bad Hispanic accent. Puerto Rico.
It wasn't so bad. You got the R. You rolled the R. Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico.
It's not Porto. It's Puerto.
Preto. Oh no, that's not Italian.
You shot yourself in the foot there. But
Yeah.
anyways,
You gonna put .pr at the end of your Instagram account now?
Yes, everything is Puerto Rico. Well, the thing about Puerto Ricans is they're very, very proud of where they're from, which is really cool because it's a very small little. It was a country, and then the United States acquired it, and now it's a territory technically. So it's a very weird in between type of place because it's not a state, but it's not a country. Everyone speaks Spanish, but also everyone speaks pretty much everyone speaks perfect English. Like it's just very, very fascinating. It's a really cool place. And actually I'm going back there in May for my Alpha Summit trip. I didn't even realize that's where we had decided to go.
Oh, is that the same guys that you went to
Yosemite with last year? And before that we went to the first time we went to the Grand Canyon, second time we went to Yosemite. This time we're going to Puerto Rico, which will be pretty cool. Going to basically the same stuff that I just did, but it'll be more fun. But anyways, point is, we went to Puerto Rico, and the way that it happened was, last week, we went to a birthday dinner for my brother, because actually his birthday is on Sunday, the 19th of January, and we were at this dinner, and my parents were talking about how, like, on his real birthday, that they're going to be in Puerto Rico, and then we started talking about the trip. And basically, they were like, "Oh yeah, well, there's actually really cheap flights." And me and my brother were like, "Well, if we buy one of these cheap flights, can we just like come?" And they're like, "Yeah, sure." So basically, me and my brother, we got tickets like kind of last minute, like really last minute. We bought them last week, and we tagged along with my parents, and it was super fun.
But they were really inexpensive, right?
Yeah, we bought them on points. So basically. So I'll go into this story because this is kind of funny. And also this story, I'm just going to say, is going to paint me to look like a dick. Okay? This story is going to paint me to look like a dick.
Paint you?
It's going to paint my dick red. No, I'm just kidding. It's going to make me look like a dick. And I'll probably admit that I probably was a dick in this circumstance, but I will tell it nonetheless. So,
well, I guess it was good intentions, right?
Yes, there was good intentions. Was I doing that?
No, I just...
Oh. So anyways, the tickets were very, very cheap, and we were buying them on points. So we have it was on Delta, and my brother and I were trying to book the same flights that my parents had. And basically it was saying that if we wanted the same flight, so 10,000 points is like a roughly equivalent to $100. Okay. So there was on the way there, it was like 10,000 we could get on their flight. So it was literally like $100 flight there. And then if we wanted the same flight on the way back, it was going to be like 60,000. So it's going to be like $600 in points equivalent. But if we chose a different flight, there were some other options, and there were some for like 11,000 or 20,000, whatever. But it's just more convenient when you're traveling, with other people to just get the same flights, whatever. Mm-hmm. But my brother figured out that if we finagled the options and whatever, that if we flew regular economy there and chose the first class option for the return flight, somehow, some way, there was like a couple of open spots in first class, and it was only like 20,000 for first class, which is like insane. Like only 200.
A $200 first class.
$200 first class.
That is nuts.
And it was going to say that economy was 600. So it was literally cheaper for us to fly first class than it was for us to fly economy on this specific flight. So we decided to do it. And all along, part of our intention was okay, mom and dad are taking us on this trip. Let's give them the first class, but we should mess with them a little bit. So let's not tell them about the first class thing, and let's just go. So on the way there, we do our normal economy. And for those of you who don't know, I don't know the exact plane names, but the plane that took us there was like a front loading type plane, and there was only one aisle. So it's 3 seats on one side, 3 seats on the other, like a standard kind of just normal flight. And the first class was not like the lay down seats or anything like that. It was just like
The lay down, I think, is the A380.
that's the one with double deckers. Like that one's like insane.
Okay, then I'm
Yeah.
wrong.
Yeah, I think it's like
747.
I don't know, but it's I think it's an A something is the one.
I'm
There's a
I'm
bunch.
not into planes.
There's tons. Yeah,
I'm not
exactly.
into planes. Sorry,
The
guys.
A380 is double decker. I've flown on one of those. So it's sick. But it didn't have lay down seats. It was just like normal first class, and you load from the front. And so we're like, oh, this is gonna be perfect on the way back. We're gonna like we'll have sky priority, so we'll get to like go first, and then we'll go sit in the first class seats. And then when mom and dad pass us, we'll be like, hey, mom and dad, actually you can sit here. We'll take your seats, right?
Mm-hmm.
So on the way back, so also another thing that adds to us being total dicks is my dad recently had back surgery. So my dad was being wheeled through the airport on a wheelchair because he can't walk for super long distances. So
He was being transported.
He was being transported. Yeah, literally. And so when we get to the airport in Puerto Rico on the last day, me and my brother were like, oh, because my dad was checking a bag. So my mom stayed with my dad, and he was like, you guys can just go ahead. You guys can go to the lounge and get food. Because also another thing is my brother signed us up for this awesome American Express card that gives us access to a bunch of lounges. So we were going to this one lounge. It was actually in a different terminal than the terminal our flight was out of. We were flying out of Terminal C or Terminal B, and the lounge is in Terminal C. Doesn't really matter. But anyways, so me and my brother went to Terminal C to go to this lounge, and my dad and my mom, since we were kind of cutting it close, we didn't have tons of time. My dad decided, because he was already getting rolled there, like he's like, screw it, I'll skip the lounge. I'll just go to the main. I'll just go to our normal terminal.
Mm-hmm.
And then my mom actually ended up coming over to the lounge. So me and my brother like scarfing down some free food, getting our lounge on or whatever. And we're getting text from my dad, and my dad's like, oh, I already got to go on first because I'm in a wheelchair, so they let me on first. So my dad is already boarded by the time we're still in the lounge. And we're like, okay, well, now we need to go. And my mom, we're walking. And my mom's like, oh, I need to go to the bathroom. So me and my brother are just like, okay, whatever. Like, okay, we'll just see you on the plane. And then we were like, oh, we have sky priority. So we go on to board. So now my mom is left outside. My dad's already on the plane, and me and my brother are boarding. So we're all separated. And then we realize that the plane wasn't boarding from the front. The plane was boarding from the middle.
From the side. So it's either go left or go right.
So economy goes right, first class goes left.
I've been on one of those planes before.
And it has 2 aisles, not 1.
Yeah.
This was a flight that had the lay down seats.
Yeah, it's got the 3 or 4 in the middle, and then like the 2 or 3 on the left, and the 2 or 3 on the right.
It had 4 in the middle and 2 and 2.
Yeah.
And in the first class, it's a 1 and 1 on the outsides and a 2 in the middle. So you basically get the equivalent of a 2-seat space for yourself.
And you get to take a nap.
And you get to literally like lay down completely. And it was a Delta One flight. It wasn't just like a normal first class thing for whatever reason. It was only 4 hours, but they served you a full-on meal during this flight.
That's so unnecessary for a 4-hour flight.
But it was fucking awesome. So anyways, so me and my brother get on, and we were going to like walk back. But the thing about it is like when the plane is loading like that, you can't like go freely up and down the aisles, right? Like everyone's going forward. You can't like cut across the flow of traffic and like go backwards. So we're like, okay, we'll wait. So the idea was we could go back there and like give the seat to my dad, or my dad and mom. We could trade with them. But the other thing was, I'd never flown on Delta One before. My brother had. My brother got a free upgrade one time, and I got left. That's a whole other story. But basically, my brother got.
When you were in.
We were in Rome, and my brother got to fly to New York City on Delta One. So my brother's already had this full Delta One experience. Just throwing that out there, not trying to throw him under the bus or anything.
Thanks,
but Matthew's already had this experience. It was his birthday that weekend, though. But still. So, anyways, we like start getting situated and all this stuff, and then like once the plane is like, once the aisles are clear, then they start giving the safety thing and start telling us to put on, seatbelts and all this stuff. And I'm like, well, I can't really like switch it now. Like it'd just be weird and like this whole thing. And then like we started like taking off, and then once we're in the sky, I like lay down, and I'm just like, this is too nice. Like, I'm literally watching, like, I'm literally laying on my, how do you, like, when you're laying in bed, like on your phone, how do you like to watch stuff?
Back, side, left, right, it doesn't matter.
Okay. So my go-to is I lay on my side and I have one arm under my pillow and then I kind of like hold the phone like this. And if I have something, I'll like prop my phone up against something. So then I'm just like laying sideways. And I was literally able to get into that position like so comfortably.
And at that point, you're like, sorry, mom and dad.
And I'm like literally like
sorry, mom and dad.
watching Netflix that I had pre-downloaded, like laying down. And I'm just like, I'm sorry, mom and dad. This is like way too sick. And I feel like such a dick. Like in my brain, I'm like, okay, like halfway through, I'll like go back there and like trade or like, and then it just kept getting like more and more and more. I'm like, I'm such a dick and I'm being so selfish right now. But like, I am also so comfortable. And also it's going to be a whole thing like, you know, oh, well, you come up and then you got to grab my luggage. You know, it's like, it was just going to be like a whole thing. And I'm just like, I'm a dick. I'm just owning the fact that I was a dick. I should have given my dad the seat. You know, he's like in pain. He just had surgery and all this stuff. But I was like, honestly, I was just being selfish and I'm a dick. That's basically the bottom line.
Yeah, once you were...
And then my dad was low-key kind of pissed. Like after we got off, he's like, so my uncle was in another terminal because he was leaving. So we went to go visit my uncle at the end, and me and my brother, my dad texted me like, you and Matthew are gonna get off the plane first, so you guys go to Uncle Bruce's terminal, go see him, and then me and mom will catch up with you later. So I go and see my Uncle Bruce, and my Uncle Bruce is like, wait, how'd you guys get first class? And we're like, well, there's a whole thing. And he's like, you should have given that to your dad. I'm like, yeah, I know. And then my dad comes up and he's like, these assholes fucking got first class, blah, blah, blah. And then like later my dad was like, are you hungry? Do you want to get anything? And I'm like, oh no. And I was like, did you guys get anything on the plane? He's like, yeah, fucking cookies and pretzels. What'd you get? I'm like,
full meal.
Beef stew and fucking like... I was like, you fucking asshole. So then like later, I said something. Matthew was like, yeah, Mr. Beef Stew over here or something like that. And then later on in the car, I felt really bad because I was just like, damn, I fucked up. Like I really should have given it to my dad. And later on in the car, I did apologize, and he was kind of like, oh, you know, I was just giving you a hard time. You didn't have to do it, blah, blah, blah. But I was like, yeah, but it would have been really nice. And like, you know, you paid for our accommodations and food and stuff like this whole trip. Like it would have been really nice, but I was just like, God damn it, I fucked up.
Yeah, I flew on a lay down to Hawaii once, and it was a situation where it was kind of like a previous trip I went on. I got like stuck in Detroit, and every time the flight would happen, they'd be like, all right, our flights are overbooked. You know, does anyone want a voucher? Blah, blah, blah. So I stayed an extra night in Detroit.
You just kept getting vouchers?
I got 3 $800 vouchers.
Holy shit.
Yeah. So I was like, what's up? Like, I'll get bumped. So I had like 2,100 Delta dollars available. So I flew to and from.
With who? Your family?
No, my buddy Chris and another buddy Tim.
Oh, that's funny. I never heard about this story.
Oh, I'll have to tell you the full story, but it was crazy because then Chris and I were the ones that decided to stay. So it was Chris, Tim, and I. We all went to like Michigan, and that's where we kept getting all the bumps. And Chris and I were like, "Yo, we're milking this. Like, we're milking this out as hard as we can. We'll stay a night in freaking a hotel. We'll keep milking it as much as we can."
Yeah.
We kept milking it. And then, but Tim was like, "No, I'm not gonna milk it." And so eventually, like Tim,
because he thought it was like not right, or he just wanted to go home.
He just wanted to go home.
Yeah. No, you can't blame him for that.
Yeah, and Chris and I were like, "We're chilling, you know, we're just trying to get these free Delta dollars." And so he went home, and then like a couple of months later, we went on this trip. Well, he only had like one $800 vouchers. He didn't have 3 like we did. So Chris and I got first class there and back, and he was stuck in economy. And that's so we kept taking him stuff. You know, we would take him like a meal, or we could take him like some pudding, or like take him like the nice cookies or like the snack box. And the stewardess got really mad at us. Really? She's like, it's not that you're giving it to your friend. It's just that everyone around your friend is now asking for these things, and we can't give them to him. And now everyone else is pissed. So she's like, if you want to give something to him, have him come up here, have him eat it up here, and then he'll go back.
Yeah.
Which was so funny because we kept just going back.
Were you guys all wheelie boys, or what was the deal?
No, it was No, it's two
Okay,
guys. Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
I didn't know if if that was also a part of the complications. Like, oh well, actually he's paralyzed, so he can't get up here. Like,
No,
something like that.
No,
I didn't know.
I was the only wheelie boy.
Oh, there we go.
It's two
That's funny.
two able-bodied folks.
That's very funny. Yeah, but that lay down seat though, clutch.
But we didn't get to lay down on the way back.
Oh,
So it was from Atlanta to like Honolulu was.
I'd
like,
almost rather have the lay down on the way home.
Yeah. So it's like Atlanta to Honolulu, like one big trip, and then we came from like Honolulu to LA, and then LA to Atlanta. It wasn't a lay down, but it was the same plane, but they made us get off. Like, I hate it when they do that. They're like, it's the same plane, but you got to get off so the stewardess can restock or whatever. And I'm like, come on.
Some planes they let you stay on.
Well, this one they didn't. So
Yeah.
we're at LAX, and I lay on the ground because I'm deadbeat tired. It's the middle of the night. It's literally like 3 or 4 a.m. And like some guy like pulled out a hammock and like strung it up in between two pillars. Like it was like a whole thing. And I remember
That's funny.
and I used like my cushion of my wheelchair to like use as a pillow. And then like on,
And then you got pink eye. No,
I
I'm
got
just kidding.
I got so sick. I literally did. I got really sick.
You think it was because of that?
Yeah, I laid on the floor at LAX.
Oh, yeah, that's
Everyone
true.
talks about the LA flu, and I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
I got
yeah.
the LAX flu or whatever it was, the cold.
I slept on the ground of a few airports. It's
Yeah.
gross.
It's disgusting, but LAX is like the most disgusting if you think about it.
I don't know. I wouldn't want to sleep on the floor in Miami.
Yeah, Miami would be pretty gross. I think New York City would be pretty gross.
JFK is pretty gnarly.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's definitely some gnarlier ones for sure.
Yeah.
Also, maybe in America, yeah, too. But yeah, either way, I've slept in some gross ones for sure. The best though is when you're able to find the row of seats that doesn't have armrests, so you can lay across all of them.
Yeah.
The worst is they never have that anymore though. They're all separated by armrests because they know people will just lay out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, dude. All right, so here's the deal. I have to pee so bad, even though I peed before the episode, but we're only like 45 minutes in, and I'm sitting here going, for the last 30 minutes, I've been like, I think I can make it. I think I can make it. I can't make it. I can't make it. So this is what's
Run
happening.
and do it. I'll talk about my
I was
trip.
gonna say, you got to tell everyone about your PR trip, and if you're watching this on video,
Just keep the door open so you can hear me.
okay.
Okay, I'll talk about my trip. So, what'd you say, AJ?
It's an intermission.
Yeah,
for Richard.
it's a nice intermission. This is the first for the Wheels Walking podcast. Okay, so on my trip, the first day we just kind of like hung out at the hotel. It was super chill. Basically my family, we always try to like set at least some sort of itinerary before, because it's the worst when you just show up and then everyone has conflicting ideas. So we were all kind of in agreement that we just wanted to chill. Like we were like, we don't really have any agenda. Let's just like hang out. So the first day was like super chill. The second day it was kind of like off and on raining a lot too, but we checked out like the old town of San Juan, which is pretty awesome. We were in San Juan, like the main city. And there was like this festival going on in the old city. And actually it's like really crowded, and it was kind of far away to walk, and traffic was like awful. So we kind of stayed away from there. But then once that died down, we did go into the old city, and that was really cool. I texted Richard a picture of the curbs. They were like literally a foot tall. Like I was like, these are not wheelie boy friendly, but the curbs were like super tall, but there was actually curb cutouts. So that was kind of cool. But we went to this like fort that was on the edge of the island. So you could kind of, I think it was an old like military fort or whatever. So you could literally like see out and just, patrol or whatever, see what ships were coming in and all that kind of stuff. So that was really cool. We got to explore that. And, we had like really good food the whole time. Like my brother was just like super on top of the food, like the whole time. Like we were just like looking up Google Maps and trying to figure out the best options. And he also had this friend that he knows that owns a barbecue place here in Atlanta. So that guy had like tons of recommendations. So we went to a lot of his recommendations. One of them was like in the back of this art gallery. Like you showed up to the front of it, and we pulled up to it with the Uber, and we were like, I don't think this is the right thing. We circled around the block one time, and then we were like, maybe this is it. It looks like there's people back in the back there. It was really weird. Like you could see that there was all this art, and then it looked like there was people eating in the back of it. It was very weird. but I think it was called Cocina al Fondo, which I think means like kitchen in the back or something like that. But it was like literally, or in the background or something. But maybe I'm butchering that. But it was amazing. Like the food was so good, and it was like so creative, like the way that they mixed everything.
Did they bring it out in a really funky way?
It was not super. Like some of the things were a little bit funky. Like the drinks were a little bit funky.
Too hard.
Yeah, but they weren't trying. Like it was good. Like it wasn't like too over the top, where it was like so weird that it wasn't good. Like the fusions were all good. Like and I didn't even really know what to get, because also I hate when we go out to restaurants and everyone gets the same thing. So like I try not to get the same thing as everyone else. So I just was like, the thing that looked good to me that wasn't also like super expensive was just like the chicken or whatever. And I'm like, it's chicken. Like I don't know how good it'll be, but it was just like so tender and so flavorful. And like it was basically and underneath it was these like potatoes that had like, I don't even know, it was like mayonnaise and something, but it was just like so good and so flavorful that it was almost like potato salad, but it was just like so good. It didn't even, on paper, it didn't even sound that amazing. I was just like, eh. And then we also had these amazing appetizers. We had like these eggplant things, and I think we had fish nuggets, like mahi nuggets that were like amazing. So that place was amazing. We just ate really good food the whole time. We went to like a Thai place one night, and I got this fried rice that was spicy. I've never had spicy fried rice, but it was honestly some of the best fried rice I've ever had. Cause like no, I don't know what it was, just like really perfectly cooked. The chicken was like great. The seasoning was perfect. The sauce, like a lot of times when you get fried rice, you have to put something on it, like yum yum sauce or something to like kind of flavor it up, because it's kind of blah. But it was like spicy. The chicken was good. They had instead of like scrambled eggs in the fried rice, they put 2 sunny side up eggs on the top of the whole mound of fried rice. So it was like 2, and I love eggs. Like
yeah, you're an egg fanatic.
I go through literally like 6 dozen eggs in like a couple weeks. So like I eat a lot of eggs, and it was awesome. The eggs were like perfect, and like, if I'm going to get sunny side up, I need them to be super dribbly and like gooey. And they were like perfect like that. And they mixed, oh my gosh, it was just great. But
what about your little nature trail journey?
Yeah, so my family and I, we rented a car, like a little SUV thing. You know what's funny is it was a Mitsubishi Eclipse Cross. And a Mitsubishi Eclipse is a coupe. When you think Mitsubishi Eclipse, you think of like a 2-door.
It's the 2-door, yeah.
Yeah, so apparently they're trying to use that Eclipse name to sell more cars, kind of like the new Mustang.
Like a Eclipse XL, is that what
it was literally called the Mitsubishi Eclipse Cross, like a crossover. So it was like a little SUV.
Okay.
It's kind of like a RAV4 size.
Okay.
So it was like a Honda CRV, something like that. Huh. But it's kind of like how I think Ford is using the Mustang name to try to sell like SUVs.
Yeah, the like electric.
The Mach-E, the Mission E or the Mach-E or something like that. I don't know, but I think they're kind of using that same thing. So anyways, we rented one of those and we drove out to the rainforest. I think it's technically the only rainforest that's in the United States, because I don't think technically the Hawaiian forest is a rainforest. I don't know, but either way, it was a rainforest, and that was really cool. We hiked up to the top of this big mountain, and there was like this tower up there to hike to. We went to the top of this tower. That was really, really cool. But surprisingly, we didn't see hardly any animals. Like I was expecting to see tons of birds and lizards and all this stuff. I saw like one little bird and one lizard.
And a Pokemon.
And a totodile.
That's been stalking you.
He's been stalking me a lot. If you guys follow me on Instagram stories, you know.
Speaking of stalking, what about the show You?
Dude, we should talk about that actually. Let me finish talking about the rainforest real
I have
fast.
comments about the Puerto Rico trip. I need to hold on. Let me get set up.
How was your pee?
Suspect.
What does that mean?
Yeah.
Differently colored?
Hold on, let me get my setup on. Hold on. What that means is it still feels like I have to pee really bad, even
Weird.
though there was nothing. There was like
Dribbles.
4 to 6 ounces in there maybe, and I was like, well, maybe it's poop. And I checked, and there was like no poop in there, and I'm like, where's all this pressure coming from? And I'm like, oh yes, one of the symptoms was abdominal pain.
That
The
sucks.
truth comes out.
Great. All right.
Poop comes out.
Yeah. So.
Or not.
Yeah, so I just want to talk about that like eclipse real quick. Yeah, a lot of car companies are doing that where they're taking names that used to be dope and then turning them into like these little like stupid
cars.
bitch ass SUVs because it's like, yo, dude, I drive a Mitsubishi Eclipse, and then it's like a little RAV4 or some shit. You're like, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, Mustang's doing it. Yeah, it makes sense kind of because it's like you've got this name that carries some weight for the company, and
No, but you're changing it completely.
yeah, it's short-sighted in my opinion, but
Dude, yeah, Mitsubishi took out the what was the
The
one-
Evo.
The Evo.
Yeah, I
And
don't
that's
think they make it
that's
anymore,
like
do
one of
they?
their best-selling cars too. I was like, why would you do that?
Well, it's their best selling because it's their only. Like people just aren't
Yeah.
buying cars anymore. People
But
are
it's,
buying like Ford
not
got rid of
available
all their
anymore.
cars.
yeah, they only sell like crossovers or whatever. Like there's no sedans. They don't make the Fusion anymore or the Focus or what was the one that had the cool like Aston Martin type of grill?
That's not the Focus.
Fusion.
Fusion, I think.
Was it the Fusion?
Yeah, Ford doesn't make cars anymore.
Fusion was
Don't
the one
at
with
me.
the
I
kind of like
think
square
it's-
grill. I don't know. Either way, they don't make sedans anymore.
I
Did,
think
did you say don't at me?
Don't at me. Yeah, like don't at me. I don't know for sure.
Yeah.
yeah, I heard something that they were taking away like a good portion of like their
Car lineup.
car line, yeah, and they're doing
Yeah.
doing something. I don't know.
Yeah, it was yeah, it's weird, but either way, it was cool. The Mitsubishi Eclipse Cross was fine. It didn't have any problems or anything, but nothing to write home about. Wasn't that cool of a car, but yeah, the rainforest experience was funny. It was just really cool. We got to it was all uphill, so it was like a pretty difficult hike. But it didn't take as long as we thought it would, which was good because my dad was waiting in the car because he couldn't do the hike.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
right.
there was no way. Like he can't really do much right now. He literally last year he had 2 knee surgeries. So he had a surgery on both knees and back surgery recently. So it's like, geez, he's
Yeah.
out.
He's all banged up.
Yeah, he's banged up. Another reason why I'm a dick for not giving him the first class seat. But anyways, so
Such a dick.
dick. But anyways,
So you said you didn't see any animals. That's a disappointment. Like,
Kinda,
like
yeah.
No monkeys, no colorful birds.
there's no monkeys aren't native
no
to Puerto
lizards.
Rico. There's no monkeys native to Puerto Rico. I don't think there's any monkeys that live in the United States technically.
I mean, I just threw that out
Yeah.
there. I had no idea.
But birds, I saw like one bird in the rainforest. I did see some birds in our hotel. There was literally at the lobby of our hotel, there's like a macaw thing, like these giant parrots that were pretty cool. They literally talked. They would say hola, hi, Polly want a cracker. They would say, that was pretty much it. But like you could say stuff to them and they'd be like, you'd be like, hola, and they'd be like, hola. It was weird.
Dude, that's crazy. Old San Juan, the buildings are painted like a bunch of crazy different colors, right?
Yeah, it's very colorful.
It's like pink and blue and orange.
Yeah, and we also
red
saw a
and-
protest happening on one of the streets. It was kind of crazy. The street that normally has all the umbrellas up above, right now it has like a giant Puerto Rican flag up above, stretching like the whole street.
Mhm.
And there was like a protest about like the debt and stuff. Because I'm not like well versed enough to like talk on this, but like there's like this whole thing with the governor is a shitty guy and like all this stuff and like recently they had like the earthquakes there and then like they also just discovered like a whole warehouse full of Hurricane Maria supplies that never got distributed and all this stuff.
Was it
Like, it was
an
ridiculous.
earthquake or a hurricane?
They just had earthquakes last week,
Oh.
like big ones. Like
I-
it was, some of it was more devastating than Maria. And actually, it was very interesting because the hotel right next to our hotel was completely abandoned. All the windows are knocked out and stuff. Like it looked like a jail or something, like from Maria.
I remember seeing something of like an airport runway that was just like covered with water bottles, like full pallets of water bottles that hadn't been distributed during Maria.
Yeah, and they just found another whole entire warehouse of Maria of supplies that were supposed to be for Hurricane Maria that never got distributed.
Ugh.
Yeah, and they're like all blaming the governor, and yeah, it is just like this whole thing. But you know, and apparently also like last week there was like a meteor that part of it struck Puerto Rico too. So it's like first Maria, then the freaking governor, then like this whole debt situation because they're like in debt to the United States. This whole bullshit. Like there's just all these things going wrong. It's like what the heck is going on in Puerto Rico, right, man?
I mean, everybody's in debt to everybody. So
Yeah, but Puerto Rico is really cool, man. Like everyone there is super friendly. Everyone speaks really good English. Because like the schools are technically like American schools, I guess. And also like, you know, everyone in Puerto Rico has an American passport. Like their passport is the exact same as ours. Like they
well, you don't even have to have a passport to go to Puerto Rico and come
No,
back.
you don't.
Yeah.
We went there. I didn't even bring my passport. And also you use American money there. Like everything is.
You can even use American credit cards too, right?
American Express, yeah. Dude, we went to this one, oh my gosh, I was talking about eating good, but we went to this one place, oh my God, it was fucking awful. It was this pizza place right around the corner from our hotel. Me and my dad wanted to go for a snack, because my mom and my brother went like on a walk, and me and my dad were like, oh, we should go get something to eat. So we were like, oh, let's go to this pizza joint like around the corner. So we roll up there, and they're like blasting like reggaeton music and stuff, and like, it was like kind of like gloomy.
Reggaeton.
It was kind of like gloomy and whatever. And so we're like, okay, we'll just duck in here and get a slice of pizza and then we'll leave. And that was like all we wanted to do. And on the menu, there's like this giant board and it was like pizza by the slice, $2.50 a slice or whatever. Pizza, or cheese or pepperoni. So we're like, perfect. We'll hop in, we'll get a slice of za and get the fuck out. So we get seated and we get our drink order and my dad gets a Coke, I get a water. And then like, someone who wasn't our waitress comes over to us and goes, hey, by the way, if you want pizza, it's going to be over an hour because we just had a huge order come in and we can't make anything with pizza. Anything with dough, it's going to take over an hour. And my dad was like, you can't just like cook one extra one for us and like give us a slice or whatever. And she was like, no, I'm sorry. It's going to be at least over an hour. We just had a huge order come in. So we're like, okay, so I guess we're not doing pizza. So we look on the menu. What else they have? They have wings. So I'm like, let's just get a plate of wings, call it a day. Let's get out of here. So, and my brother also like at that point had come back and tagged along. So we were like, you know what? Let's get this like sampler plate. It comes with like sweet potato fries, wings, these little like fried dough ball things, whatever. And we'll get that and we'll just share it. And you know, that'll be our snack. So we order that. Waitress comes back like 10 minutes later after we ordered that. Oh, I'm sorry, we're out of these things. It was like some like the fried things or whatever. Out of, you know, something. What would you like instead? Like you can add more of something. And so we said, oh, add more wings. We want more wings.
Slice of pizza.
Yeah, I know, right? We're like, add more wings. We want more wings. So we'll have more of those. So, yeah. So then 5 or 10 more minutes pass by. You know, we're sitting there or whatever, annoyed at this place. And they go, oh, we're out of wings.
What?
Now at this point, we haven't received any food. They told us they can't make us pizza, which we came in for. They also were out of whatever, so they were going to give us extra wings.
Because they were out of sweet potato
And to
fries
be
or whatever.
completely honest, we didn't really want all that was on the sampler. It was just like, sure, the sampler sounds good. It'll give us a few little things. So the things that we mainly wanted on the sampler are now basically off the table. And my dad was like, okay, let's just cancel it. And she goes, oh no, but we already started making it. And my dad's like, what did you start making?
Yeah, what did you start making? If you don't have... Yeah.
Bro, it was so messed up. And it's like literally raining outside too. So we don't want to just walk out because then we're just walking into rain and it would be a whole thing. So it's like, fine, give us meatballs. They had meatballs. That wasn't even part of the sampler. But we're like, instead of the wings, give us meatballs.
Bro, so you have like meatballs and sweet potato fries?
Yeah, and these fucking like fried corn sticks, and then these other things that literally looked like they looked and tasted like fried dog food. And when we bit into the middle of them to see what was inside, the inside was cold.
Bruh.
The whole experience of this place was awful. So then once we like right before we get the meatballs and all this other food, the lady comes out and she said, hey, actually, we'll be able to get you some pizza. sooner than an hour. If you want to order some right now, it can be out in like 10 minutes or whatever. So me and my dad were like, sure, let's get, can we get one piece? We're assuming that they're not going to make 2 whole pizzas. So let's just get 2 slices of pepperoni. So they only have to make 1 pepperoni pizza. So we said, can we get 2 slices of pepperoni pizza? And they go, oh no, we don't have pizza by the slice, just personal pizzas. And on
It's like
their
your
menu,
menu.
that's literally behind me, I'm looking at it, and it
And you're
says
just like-
pizza by the slice. And at this point, my dad and I are just like,
This can't be real.
just give us 1 personal pizza and we'll share it. And that'll be fine.
How big is a personal pizza?
I mean, it was like, a little pan pizza.
10-inch
four triangle slices,
Little 10-inch, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it would be fine. It'd be a little bit smaller than a personal pizza in my
All
opinion.
pieces are personal if you eat it all.
Yeah, if you have the courage and the power. I'm looking for the right word. Every pizza, if you have the determination, that's the word. Every personal is a personal pizza. Every pizza is a personal pizza if you have the determination. So, and if you have the time. So, anyways, that was just like the worst. Because then we finally get the sampler plate, and half of it is awful. We like the meatballs were like fine, but they were meatballs. We didn't really want those to begin with.
Gross, yeah.
And then we got like sweet potato fries, and everything else on the sampler plate sucked ass. We had the fried dog food, fried corn sticks, sweet potato fries, and get this, giant steak fries. Those like giant fat fries that are just potatoes. It was basically like quartered potatoes fried. I'm like, this whole thing is just fried shit. Like, I want real like sustenance. Like, it was just awful.
They have a pizza oven and a fryer, and that's it.
Seemed like it. And basically, and then you go on Google and their reviews weren't bad. I'm like, how does this place not have like 1 star on Google Maps?
Well, what I need to know is, did you get any like merchandise that they were selling?
No.
Were they
I did not.
I went to Fried Food and Pizza Palace, like just for the experience, to like remember.
Yeah, and the whole time also they were blasting the reggaeton music, and I didn't notice it from the outside, but they had a giant flat screen TV behind the bar where they were showing the music videos of all these like freaking big booty bitches twerking the whole time. Yep. But it's all, dude, I didn't realize like that music is so popular too, but also so many like rappers get features on those songs. Like there was like so many times where I'm like, is that Lil Pump in that video? And then you'd hear him doing some feature and you're like, what the fuck? Like, dude, and the music videos are just so bad. Like they're just so cringe and just like, they just ooze like insecurity and like, oh, we're trying to flex. We got jewelry. We've got all this stuff. And we've got girls and bitches. And like, look at me. I've got my face next to a girl's booty. And it's just like, dude, this is so cringe.
It reminds me of rap music videos between 2005 and 2010.
It was exactly like that.
Yeah.
Because music videos now, I feel like at least have some sort of like
storyline or something.
Story or like they're shot in a cool way. These were all
Some
just
type of
that
production
very
or-
typical like, yo, look at me twerking on a Rolls Royce. Yo, look, it's like some fake party with all these girls like screaming my name. Like, it's just really bad. But anyways, yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of reggaeton, but to each his own.
Oh, I
like
can't
Ozuna, though.
stand
Ozuna.
reggaeton because every beat
Is the exact
sounds like
same.
this. I can't do it.
You would think they would get
No,
sick
it's
of
not
that.
bong gaga bong. It's boom ba 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 boom ba. Every song. Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Every
all about tempo.
fucking
If you
song.
you turn it up or you turn it down. It's all the same.
It's the same friggin'
But
song.
I wonder.
Same with hardstyle. Gong 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 gong. It's the friggin' worst.
Yeah, I wonder if also the fact that it's in a different language that we hear the music more. And the reason I
Maybe.
say that is because like I'm sure when like other people come to our country, like our country,
yeah.
and they listen to like country music or they listen to rap or they listen to rock, they're like, all rock just sounds like an electric guitar. It all does the same thing.
Yeah, it's a little different though, because I mean, it really is like the same freaking beat. I agree, because I thought that too with like a lot of trap beats and stuff are very similar, and you know, I get it, and it's in a different language, so like we were only paying attention to the music versus the words and all that kind of thing, but like Yeah, it's just not for me. It's just yeah. I've tried honestly like to get into it. Some reggaeton songs I can get into if they mix it up a little bit.
I like
Same
that.
with
I
hardstyle,
like-
dude. Same with hardstyle. Keizo, he makes some decent hardstyle songs, but like typical, stereotypical, like DEFCON type hardstyle, I cannot.
I really enjoy the Daddy Yankee Gasolina. You know,
Yeah,
like
that's some freaking reggaeton right there.
Yeah, it is, but it doesn't sound like it at all. Like I don't think there's any like real reggaeton sounds.
You're, I think, only thinking that because you know the words to it.
Maybe.
There is that part in the beginning. It's like, but then as soon as it goes, it is that in the background for sure.
Oh, huh. Interesting.
See, but you
I haven't
know the
heard
lyrics.
I haven't heard it in forever. But I remember. I mean, I'm thinking about the part where it's like gasolina, gotta get the gasolina. But like the beat is different from what I remember.
I don't think so,
Dude, this is getting weird.
Yeah, we can't play it either because we'll get copyright striked on YouTube. Oh, damn. But anyways, dude, we were also going to talk about the fact that we're trying to do merch.
Not trying to do merch.
We are trying.
One of the biggest goals for me during this break of me healing is to get merchandise out, and we're gonna start. I think simple with, just like printed tees and hoodies, and Andrew's already got some cool designs coming up. But we definitely are gonna make sure it's quality. Like we're not gonna just like go to YouTubemerch.com and submit our graphics and make it just say this on a print. Like it's gonna be sick, and we're gonna get different cut shirts that fit well when you're rolling around in a wheelchair, and we're gonna make sure the prints are high enough on the back so they're still be able to be seen
above your seat,
your seat back.
Your seat back.
And we'll put some cool, probably like graphics on maybe on the shoulders or maybe on the chest or maybe across the abdomen. I mean, we don't know. We'll figure it out when we figure it out.
Yeah.
But
it'll be sick.
It's gonna be cool, man.
It's gonna be stuff that we would actually wear. That's the main thing.
Yeah, that's the main
because there's
thing.
so much YouTuber merch that is so fucking cheesy, and like I know, Drama from Young and Reckless. Like he was on Rob Dyrdek's Fantasy Factory. He's Rob's cousin. He got to a point with Young and Reckless where he's like, dude, like this shit is so whack. Like I'm just making screen print tees because that's what kids buy. But like I wouldn't be caught dead wearing my own shit. And that was when he like made this whole transition into kind of what they do now. They still have screen print stuff, but he was like more into minimal kind of branding and things like that where, it was actually, he felt like it was cool to wear it. Like he would be proud to wear his own stuff. That was where he was like, I went wrong when I was just making shit for people rather than making it for what I would actually want to wear.
Yeah, because there's plenty of YouTubers that will have merch that they'll wear in their videos because that's just free commercial space.
Yeah, exactly.
And, there is some YouTuber merch that does look pretty cool, but it's not really branded. Like it's just
MKBHD does really good merch, I think.
Yeah, I think about
also Teddy Fresh. That's not really merch though.
That's a fashion line. And like that's what I would actually hope this could eventually evolve into is like, yeah, we're starting with merch because that will open up an income stream. That will also allow all you guys that are fans to rock our stuff. That will also give us cool stuff to wear. Like I said, like this is gonna be stuff that we also want to wear and not just like some like screen print on a Gildan shirt. Like just not something you get at the 5K.
Hell, I'm wearing merch right now.
Yeah, he's wearing merch.
Forgot.
Yeah. That's
what up, Double D?
Yeah. And that's cool because it's the thread,
Yeah, it's embroidered. It's not just screen printed.
That's the word I was looking for.
The thread.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually distressed this hoodie myself though because I didn't like how it was just like plain. But yeah, like I think like higher quality stuff is like what we're trying to go with it eventually. Hopefully we can find that sweet spot between price and where it all works for the merch company and us, because the other thing is today we're actually meeting with a merch company who you've kind of worked with in the past. Nothing ever like came to fruition necessarily. Actually, you did a photo shoot with them.
I've modeled with them before, and they gave me a bunch of their stuff to wear
and you've worn their stuff in a lot of the videos.
In a lot of the videos, I've worn their stuff before. Yeah,
probably the most iconic ones, honestly.
Yeah, and you know, like I wear those all the time because
Yeah.
they fit nice. Like I like the shirt quality that they choose. I like the designs that they put on them. I like the quality. You know, I wear them all the time, and they age gracefully. Like they don't fall apart. And I really enjoy that because there's nothing more annoying than having a shirt that like you can't wear a lot because you know it's going to disintegrate.
Yeah, that's the worst. Or when stuff is screen printed and they do that like really thick stuff that just crackles over time, and
cracks,
like you
yeah.
wash it like 3 times and it just cracks and just the type of screen printing they do, I think it's like water based, where it like basically it becomes part of the fabric. Like the fabric is stained versus like a layer of like thick, almost like paint on top of it.
I don't know. We'll have to check out while we're there.
No, but I know, like, I felt like the shirt that you wore in the last video for the 10 years, like the ATL Give 'em Hell shirt, like it's not like a thick print that you can like feel it. You know, when you feel
I don't think that one's theirs though.
Oh, it's not?
Yeah, I think
oh,
that
never
one's.
mind, JK.
I think that one's from Citizen Supply.
JK Law.
Yeah, but yeah, you're right.
They sell their stuff in Citizen Supply though, don't they?
I don't think they do anymore. They did,
JK Law, I'm fucking up.
They did for a while. That's where I initially got introduced to them. Yeah, but either way, so yeah, and the guy who started the company is a real cool dude. He started the company out of necessity. Honestly, like he was couldn't afford his type 1 diabetes insulin, so he was like, okay, I got to find a way to make some money. And you know, I think we can
hopefully we can work with them.
Yeah, we can figure out how to work with them, and I think we can also potentially expand too, because they do other things that are not just shirts and hoodies. You know, like they've got you know, windbreakers and jackets and rings and, you know, packs. And I think there's definitely ways that we can potentially branch out, because, you know, the you know, wheels to walking aesthetic, you know, the wheelie boy, it's like, you know, what would the wheelie boy wear? What would the wheelie boy, you know, have? And I think about all the stuff I have, you know, I'm always, you know, rocking like a shirt or a hoodie.
You wear shirts?
Yeah, I know. Can you believe it?
No way.
It's kind of crazy.
I've never worn a shirt.
Huh. You know,
I'm just fucking with you.
I'm thinking about, like, I always got a bag with me. You know, I think it'd be cool.
Yeah.
It'd be cool to make some type of other, you know, like
Cool joggers,
hats, or, you know, like some type of, you know, windbreaker, or some type of accessories, or I don't know, man. We'll just see where this goes, because, you know, 2020, we're coming for those bags, man. We're trying to get profitable, because 2019 was all about like building the brand, and now we're in the place where it's time to make it. So
make the money.
We're not losing money.
And also we're already in talks with like some sponsors for the podcast, which is cool.
Yeah,
we've basically got one in the bag. Like they've already like verbally committed that they're gonna do it for 5 episodes, which is dope.
Yeah.
So it'll be cool. You know, we want to keep, you know, the podcast obviously like the same kind of structure, but we're gonna start integrating like some ads and stuff like that so that we can make money. So don't be surprised when we start talking about some other products and stuff like that. But also we're very, very picky about like what we'll do ads for and what we won't. Definitely there's some things where we've been kind of like, I'd probably do an ad for them. I don't know if I like, you know, use their products right now or anything, but like, yeah, sure. Like I like what they stand for and all that kind of stuff. But then there's some things where it's like, yeah, I would never do an ad for them. But
yeah,
and there's certain companies that have reached out to us already, and we're like, yeah, no.
Yeah, I think about whether it's advertising space inside the podcast or advertising space on the video. I've said no to everyone so far, like basically, because I'm like, thanks for the opportunity, this is not a good fit. You know, there's a couple of people that are still in my inbox that I'm waiting to, you know, just like, you know, reconnect with or whatever, but they're yeses. But you know, there's definitely a part where I'm like, I'm not just gonna like sling crap at you guys.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
exactly.
I'm not one to want to, you know, bow to the almighty dollar, and that's one of the reasons why I wanted to do merch, because that's an income stream that we can control. You know, like there's no, we are the ones that are doing it. There's no rules or guidelines or regulations or reviews or, you know, it's a harder route to take, honestly, doing everything on your own. You know, it's like, oh, we could get sponsored by a t-shirt company. It's like, or we can start our own, you know, like.
Yeah, exactly. We've been talking about merch for a really long time, so I'm excited for this today. Hopefully it pans out. Hopefully it works. But yeah, just be on the lookout for merch coming soon, because it'll be pretty dope. I'm excited about it.
Yeah, we're definitely going to go check out the operation and ask a lot of the questions.
Yeah. Okay, so another topic I wanted to talk about was something that's been coming up a lot recently with like Huawei and like all these companies that are like potentially infiltrating, our data, and like, there's all these privacy concerns, and there's been like tons of iCloud leaks and things around that nature of people just being scared of leaking, their data or having their personal privacy breached.
Well, even most recently, Jeff Bezos got hacked
Really?
by what private investigators have found was the Saudi Arabian prince, Prince Bonesaw, and he got hacked, and they found nude pictures he had sent back and forth with the girl he was having an affair with, and it pretty much blackmailed Jeff Bezos and was telling him like he needed to stop reporting on the Khashoggi murder.
Oh, because he owns the Wall Street Journal or something, right?
Washington Post.
Washington Post.
And that's the Saudi Arabian journalist who got murdered and hacked up by a bone saw. So it's like under the orders of Prince Bonesaw. But
wow.
So like that's a big thing that broke yesterday, I think. And it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, because originally he thought it was Trump, I think.
Well, no, it wasn't Trump. It was some tabloid, the National Enquirer, and the National Enquirer's is a part of this. Like the National Enquirer source is it's a crazy web. I'd say check out Philip DeFranco's show that came out on Tuesday. Jeff Bezos will be in the thumbnail, so check it out. And it was definitely crazy because, no person or institution is safe. We've got Apple, Amazon, Google, as like the big three. They're the ones that have the personal assistants in our house. They're the ones that there's a lot of potential for data leaks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's interesting too because like Amazon somehow also became like an assistant company, but they don't own like search or anything like that. Like it's very weird how Amazon kind of finagled their way into this with Alexa and everything. But yeah, the interesting proposition that I kind of wanted to explore with you is the idea that if in the future, like for example, the shooter that there was like recently a shooter that they were trying to get into his iPhone or whatever, and they went to Apple again, kind of similar to what happened a few years ago. And Apple was like, no, we won't like give you access to this guy's phone.
Mm-hmm.
And we're not going to create some sort of like backdoor or anything that we can get in everyone's iPhone because number one, it could lead to exploits for bad people to figure that out. But also what kind of precedent does that set where, we're just going to give up our customers' data and information to the government just because the government told us to or whatever. Like, we're not going to do that.
I sided with Apple majorly during that. Because
yeah,
it's
me
like,
too.
It's like, what precedent are we setting? What exploits are we putting out there?
But what about when the guy is dead and he's killed a bunch of people? Like, like if his privacy is, what good does privacy do when you're dead? Like
I don't think it has to do with privacy at that point. It still has to do with setting a precedent. Like it still has to do with like opening up a door for potential malicious attacks. It's like, here government, here's this special key, and then all someone has to do is hack you, and you've been hacked a bunch of times before, and then all of a sudden that person has that special key, and then all iPhones are vulnerable. It's like, nah, I'm not about that life.
Yeah,
like,
no, I'm not about it. I'm not saying they should make some sort of special key, but like.
Well, that's what they were asking for.
They were asking for that, but should Apple even help them, like get into the, because they kind of know better than anyone else how the system works and stuff like that. Like, do you think that if this person was obviously a terrorist, obviously killed people, and is now currently dead, I mean, I don't think they necessarily have any obligation, but even if the government was going to pay them or whatever to help them get inside, like. Seems, it's just an interesting conundrum.
Well, the way I think about it is, for me, my personal data, my phone, I'll go as far as my phone, is an extension of my mind. What's on there is, a combination of a lot of my thoughts. I think of like my search history and my calendar and phone numbers and text messages and, DMs and photos I'm liking, and everything is all just like because the relationship I have with my phone is very personal. No one knows. It's just, me and my brain, me and my phone. It's all super personal. And it's an extension of our mind. And if, I always do my best to make sure I have, 2-factor authentication on everything. I don't fall for phishing accounts. I make sure that my stuff is very secure. I put on passcodes and I have Face ID and, I've got password keepers that are backed up and encrypted, and, I make sure that I'm really safe. And I think what motivated me to do that the most is when I worked at Apple and I saw like all the pain that all the, the customers went through when they'd come in and be like, oh, my account got compromised, or I got hacked, or I lost all my business data, or someone stole this from me, or my, ex did this, or like just so much stuff that I'm like, ooh, damn, like, ouch, like you should have protected yourself, like.
Yeah, but the interesting thing is, in the future, all these companies are gonna kind of know everything about us in some way. Do you think that privacy will be as important to future generations? Like, do you think that people will just be like, to reap the benefits of all these other things, should we just kind of give up this idea that we have privacy? Like, I mean, if everyone's information is public, if we're all in a level playing field in some way, does privacy even matter?
Well, that's been what people have been doing since, Facebook came around at the very beginning, was that for convenience or for a service, we would just be like, here you go, here's all of my information, and
it's free. No one's making us do this stuff.
Yeah, and convenience, a lot of the times, all you have to do is give up a little bit of information to get something that's, a little bit less. And I think what you and I consider privacy is not what our parents consider privacy. I consider myself to be a private person, but I still have a weekly podcast and weekly videos, and I have a huge social media presence, but I would still consider myself and my life to be pretty private, because for the most part, no one really knows anything about me, which I love. But a lot of people know a lot about me at the same time. It's like, what do you qualify as privacy? What is privacy?
Mm-hmm.
And I think about like, parents' generation or even my grandparents' generation. You'd be like, oh my gosh, you put all that stuff on the internet? I'm like, yep. But to me,
don't
like
forget, you used to be able to look up in a phone book where people lived and shit.
Yeah, you'd have phone numbers and addresses, and you could call a number and be like, hey, operator, connect me with so-and-so, and they would immediately connect you. Or you could. It wasn't uncommon to show up at someone's house and just knock on the door and be like, oh, I looked you up on the pages, like.
Yeah, it's very odd.
Yeah, but I think probably future generations will care less and less about privacy. But data itself is a commodity that we didn't understand its value, so we just kind of gave it up to everybody who wanted it. Find out what breadstick you are. Download this app and give us all your information. And you're like, cool, I want to know what breadstick I am.
I mean, that's pretty important. You got to know what breadstick you are.
Yeah, so then
I'm garlic.
Oh, okay.
What are you?
I've never downloaded those stupid things.
You fucking idiot.
Have y'all seen the thing on, remember the the app where you can make yourself look old?
Yeah.
The whole fiasco about
what a conspiracy.
It's run by a Russian company who's harvesting your face data and shit.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, another thing is
10-year challenge, baby.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. I mean, they have all of our data on our face structure and shit. I mean, but was it worth it for that Facebook post where you could post what you look like when you looked old? Sure, I mean, I wasn't going to pay $1 for that app, but if it's free, then sure. Same thing with TikTok, dude. TikTok's owned by a Chinese company. The military is instructed, excuse me. The government's instructed the military, no one in the military can use TikTok because it's potentially,
it's a data leak.
A data leak or whatever.
Yeah, I got one that's really interesting. Snapchat's filter, its facial recognition, is one of its biggest assets because of online banking. A lot of online banking companies and companies that retrofit ATMs and stuff like that are in the process of trying to purchase Snapchat's facial recognition software, so that if you know, kind of like Face ID, you know, but it's like, it's Snapchat, dude.
Yeah.
Like, think about how many billions of faces and filters they've put
Yeah.
on people. So it's like, it's extremely.
It's got a lot of data.
It's extremely.
The interesting thing is like, if you've got quote unquote nothing to hide, then do you still need privacy?
That's such a dumb argument. I hate that.
Yeah.
I hate
it too because
I hate the whole, if you got nothing to hide, then show us. It's like, that's not, no.
the thing is that means you've got to trust the people who own all this stuff. Like, for example, that means you got to trust the government. You know, it's like, that's the reason why in our Constitution we have like the right to bear arms and right to form militias and stuff like that. It's because like, dude, there could come a time where like, you know, some shit goes down.
I mean, look what's happening in Hong Kong right now.
Yeah, literally.
Like, I've known a few people, I've been reading some articles online where a lot of people were super like anti-Second Amendment, you know, and then they saw what was happening in China and they're like, man, if those guys just had guns, they would be just fine.
Yeah. My friend Aaron lives in Hong Kong and he, I asked him the other day about the protests and stuff because I think in America we're very like on the side of the protesters because it's just like fighting against the oppressive government and stuff. And he basically was like, yeah, like I believe in like what the protesters are like standing up for mostly, but also a lot of these protesters are looking for trouble. They want to vandalize and they want to have an excuse to go mess up the town. And I don't know if you saw this, but like one night they all went out and removed all the stop signs or all the stoplights. Like they bashed them all in and like broke all these stoplights.
No.
So the traffic was just like chaos. Like no, there was no green lights and stuff. Like
it
ruins the life of the people that are just trying to go about their day. You know,
it reminds me of, well, I mean, that's kind of an anarchy, and anarchies kind of work because it gets people to pay attention to what you're doing and what you're saying.
Yeah.
It reminds me of, you guys remember the protests that used to happen or that were happening around the Trayvon Martin thing?
Where they'd block highways and shit.
In Ferguson. Yeah, it was like constant, like just chaos. And I also think about like, you know, when the Proud Boys and Antifa meet up in Portland, Oregon and start pouring concrete inside of milkshakes and throwing them at each other's heads and like, you know, all this crazy stuff.
What they do? They would pour a milkshake so it looked like they're drinking a milkshake and then they could use it as a weapon. Is that what they did?
So they would put concrete mix inside of their like milkshakes and then it would like quickcrete. It would form into concrete. And then they were carrying around a weapon that they could just hit anybody.
So it would
with.
look like a milkshake.
Yeah, but
interesting.
It was concrete.
Very creative.
Yeah, but yeah,
I saw this funny video on Facebook recently. It was like an ad for living in Portland, and it was like Portland, Oregon, the city on the sea. Like it was just like this fake, like it sounded like a real thing, and then it would just splice in like all these footage of like homeless people shitting on the street and like Antifa things, like people fighting and people getting knocked over the head with a brick, like protesters getting hit in the street by cars and shit. It was so funny because the narration the whole time was like, welcome to beautiful Portland. Like, it was just great.
Well, what's interesting is what I found about Portland or even the Pacific Northwest, but I think primarily Portland is like the city of the extreme left.
Yeah.
But there's not really a city of the extreme right. Like, there's not really like a come to Atlanta, Georgia, where we hate black people.
Well, I think that's kind of like the natural equivalent is typically cities are very liberal and countryside and rural stuff is very right wing. Like you think about how the country's divided when we vote, like typically like California, New York, like all these metropolitan areas are very blue and then, or whatever the color is blue liberal.
Yeah. Democrat. Yeah.
Democrat. And then like all the other quote unquote flyover states and all these other states are very red. So it's like, it kind of makes sense that there's not a centralized city. It makes sense that they're kind of all spread out because like that's why people people that live in these tight communities don't understand why like someone would vote for Donald Trump because they don't even know anyone that would be potentially a Trump voter or something like that.
Yeah, I guess the point that
spread out.
I'm trying to make is like Portland is where all the right wing people go
to fight.
Exactly. So it's like that's where like all the chaos happens because it's like, oh, we're red and we need to go find all the blues. Where are all the blues at? Be like, oh, they're in Portland. And be like, all right, we're gonna find. Let's go there.
Yeah, it's like all the 4chan peeps. Yeah, it's ridiculous, but I guess I don't know. The main point I was kind of trying to get at is I think in the future, privacy might just be something that people just don't even like care about. It might not even exist.
But again, it's like,
kind of dystopian, but
it's like my thought is like private to who?
Yeah.
Like privacy, like who am I keeping my information private from? Am I hiding it from the government? And am I hiding it from individual people?
I think everyone,
am
like,
am I
if
hiding
everything
it
is
from your
accessible,
neighbor, you know?
I don't know. Yeah, like if I'm able to just find anything I want about you.
I mean, I feel like that can be dangerous because like then you know where everyone is and where everybody lives, and if you don't agree with someone, you can just show up to their house and beat them up. I mean, I think about like I keep my location extremely private, and we are very.
But that's only
intentional
because
with
that person has like. It's kind of like in chess.
It's called doxing, you know, if you like
Yeah,
reveal
I
people's
understand
information,
that,
it's
but
like it's like a crime.
Yeah, but I kind of believe in people. Like that happens currently. Why do you think it would happen more if it was more available? You know what I mean? Like, I think we would all kind of have this mutual understanding, like, oh shit, like I'm just as vulnerable as Richard is. You know, just because I'm not like a celebrity, I'm still just as vulnerable because he'll find out that I was the one doing this, and then he'll send his army against me. You know what I mean? Like, I think it would be crazy in the beginning, but if it slowly rolls out, like if everyone's just as vulnerable as everyone else, everyone's on the same level playing field. It's like the same thing as like, you know, if you tweet at me, I can tweet right back. You know, like everyone, I get when it gets weird with physical locations because then it's like a whole thing. But, you know,
it's like I don't know. I know where you live and I know where you work and I know where you sleep. And it's like, that's called stalking.
And even, yeah, it is. But the thing is too, it's like, you know, even if your nudes or whatever are all leaked and everyone, but if I can go look up your nudes, you can look up my nudes, you know, like it's like a whole, it's very odd. I think it will all just be desensitized at some point.
I don't know. I think we'll just have to see whatever our kids are up to whenever our kids are up to it.
True that.
You know?
Yeah. And also that ties into that show You, but we'll talk about that next week.
Yeah.
Thank you.
AJ's in the back like, oh, come on, we're 5 minutes over. Don't start a new topic.
All right. Thanks for listening, everybody. Also, follow us on Patreon because you can go back and listen to all of our old podcasts that we did last year before we even launched this podcast. So if you like what we're doing and you've listened to all the episodes, go back, pay $1 or whatever it costs. Go listen to all of our old Patreon podcasts. But that's all I have to plug.
Cool.
Follow us on places. Bye.
Adios.